In this video, I am going to share with you my experience of selling my Tesla Model 3 through KeySavvy and whether or not you should use them. Things to look forward to in this video. Number 1, meeting with a buyer flying all the way from North Carolina to Philadelphia to buy my car. Number 2, me accusing KeySavvy of scamming me and stealing my car. And number 3, whether or not I actually got paid for my car. So if you are in the market of selling your car, you have a few options to do so. Normally, you could sell it in through your dealership when you're trading in your car, but they'll probably give you the lowest amount. You can also go to CarMax, Carvana. They might give you a better amount, but still probably not what you want. And your other option is to sell it privately, which will usually net you the best bang for your buck, and you'll get the value that you want. The pros of going through dealerships is that they will give you a much quicker turnaround. You'll probably get your money right away. The con is that you get the least valuable offer. The pros of selling privately is that you will get the price that you want. However, it may take longer for you to get that price, and your car will be sitting on the market for a long time. Fun fact, in 2024, if you are buying a new electric vehicle, it is applicable for the $7,500 tax credit. It used to be a tax rebate that you had to apply for during tax season, but now when you're buying the car, that $7,500 comes right off the purchase price of the car. If you're buying a new Tesla for $50,000, it really comes down to $4,250. What people don't know is that there is another tax incentive that if you buy a used EV vehicle underneath $25,000 and also being at least 2 to 5 years old, then you can actually get a $4,000 tax rebate off of that purchase price as well. So let's say you're buying a $20,000 Model 3, that's actually $16,000. Pretty good deal. The only catch to get that tax credit, along with some other income requirements, is that you have to buy it through an authorized seller. So me selling my Tesla Model 3 privately on Facebook Marketplace, the buyer's not gonna get that incentive. Now, originally I went to Tesla to buy my Model 3 off of me because I'm purchasing the new Model Y. It was just going to be the easiest process. They'll take it, I drive it in, they give me money towards the new car, simple. Originally, they quoted me about $15,000, which at the time seems like market value. I did some shopping around and Carvana offered me $15,400. So there's a $400 difference. I didn't think it was that much of a difference to go through that hassle, but then I went to CarMax and they quoted me $17,000, which I thought was a pretty good deal. A $2,000 difference kind of might be worth it. But then I still decided it might not be worth the headache and I'll just sell it to Tesla. However, when the time came closer, Tesla changed their offer to me from $15,000 to $13,000. That changed everything. So at this point, I'm like, okay, let's do CarMax. However, when I go through the process with CarMax, there's an issue because I just paid off the car thinking that it would make this whole process easier, which it didn't. By paying off the car before the loan was done, I now have to wait for the state to send me my title, and then I have to give them my title to get that offer. But since I just paid it off, it was gonna take 2 weeks for the title to come in, and the CarMax offer only lasts for a week. Due to that whole misunderstanding and headache, I decided to, you know what, let's just list it on Facebook Marketplace and see what happens. It's sitting for a while, maybe a month. I'm getting offers here and there, scams, lowballs, whatever. But interestingly enough, I have some people reaching out to me offering a higher price if I sell it through this platform called KeySavvy. The reason they want me to sell it through KeySavvy and for them to buy it through KeySavvy is now because they are able to take advantage of that $4,000 used EV tax credit. So of course, if I get the price that I want and they get a good deal, both parties win. What's the catch? I do my due diligence, research into KeySavvy, and from what I found, it seemed pretty legit. There's a very small fee associated with using them, and as the seller, I can actually designate those fees to the buyer. Since the buyer is already saving an extra $4,000, what's the harm of adding on a $160 fee to the price? So I go ahead and list my car onto KeySavvy, and the process was very easy, very straightforward. Once the link was created, I shared it with this potential buyer, and then he filled out his information, and he links his bank accounts, and then he buys it. I get the notification that the buyer has paid and KeySavvy has the money ready to be released. The next steps on my end are to mail out my title. Now, this is one of the reasons why people don't feel safe using KeySavvy, because you have to mail in your car's title that proves your ownership of your car, and you're mailing it to this new platform that you might never have heard of. But this is how their process works, because they need to have your title, verify ownership, and then they transfer that title to the new buyer. I guess it makes sense, but it's just an interesting process because now I'm giving up the ownership of my car, and then when the buyer does pick up my car, then I don't have that either. With the research I did, I felt that it was safe to do so. So I went ahead and had to get it notarized because I am in the state of Pennsylvania, and in the state of PA, whenever you're selling a car, you must have your title notarized. All that means is you're showing up to a notary and they're just giving the stamp of approval that you own this car, and it costs 10 bucks. They put a stamp on it. Boom, your title has been notarized. Next, you send it off. On KeySavvy's website, they have a few recommendations on how to mail in your title. The first two they show is FedEx and UPS. Then they say another option is also USPS. USPS is usually the cheaper option, and I went with the priority mail option, which gives you a tracking number, because you do need a tracking number to upload to your KeySavvy dashboard so that both you and them can keep track of the status of where your title is. So I went ahead and shipped it via USPS priority mail. It cost me another 10 bucks. I ship it out Friday, should be coming in Monday or Tuesday. Once they receive the title, it takes them about 1 business day to verify proof of ownership, and after that, they release the funds. Easy, or so I thought. I just mailed off the title. It costs 10 bucks, USPS priority mail. Next step is just to give up my car on Tuesday. It's too good to be true. Hopefully this all works out. After I confirmed with the buyer that I have successfully shipped out the title, he books his flight from North Carolina to Philadelphia. Flies out Tuesday. We're set to meet at an Aldi's near my apartment. Should be an easy delivery. After inspecting the car, he didn't even really drive it around. He kind of just took my word for it, which is very trusting, which also kind of drew a red flag, but not really at the same time. He was a trustworthy guy. And now we start the whole transfer process of releasing a Tesla from your account and trying to get it into someone else's account. The process itself should be very easy, but for some reason, when we went through it, it was a whole process. That's a video in itself. If you want to see that video, give me a comment down below and I'll make that happen. That was a long process. Eventually, we got it done. We got the car removed from my account and successfully registered in his account. So he is set and he's ready to go. And at this point, that was it. On his dashboard, he has to click accept delivery or confirm delivery. He confirmed the odometer reading, everything's working. And once he accepts that, his end is done. The only step left is for KeySavvy to receive the title, verify it, release the funds to me, and mail a title to the buyer. Sounds simple, right? Even John felt that this process was very easy. So he just confirmed the transfer and it says I've been paid. What was your experience like as the buyer?
It was really good. I mean, smooth.
It was a little too smooth.
It's different because if it wasn't a local, so I really had to go on you.
Yeah.
But everything else was smooth.
Yeah, because you're coming from another state.
Yeah, another state, driving back to North Carolina.
Yeah, and you flew up here to Philadelphia to pick this up.
That's
You didn't
correct.
even like look at the car.
I went by his word.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's cool.
I don't ever do that, but what other choice did I have?
Wow. And you just didn't see any other Teslas in your market for the price you wanted?
They're a little overpriced, colors that I didn't want. A little cheaper up north.
Interesting.
Because I'm in North Carolina. Cars are like that. I was in the car business. I would always have to buy from Virginia or Pennsylvania because they're cheaper than in North Carolina.
Okay, good to know. And since we did use KeySavvy, you were able to take advantage of the $4,000 tax credit?
I did.
Okay, so that really helped out.
That really did help out, yeah.
And that's like the only reason we kind of went through this, because one, they will handle like all the back end stuff, the transfer, all of that. I think on your end, you only had to pay the service fees, which was what, 150 bucks?
There's a buy and a sell. Obviously, I'll cover yours.
Yep.
And it was only, I think, $79 each.
Yeah, wow. So that does come up to like 100.
And it would, yeah. So it was like 150 something or 160, 158 probably.
Yeah.
The exact dot. But since you owned the car, you didn't have to pay $100 extra, I believe it was, to if you had a loan.
Oh, they would pay off the loan.
They would pay it off, but you would have to pay another, I think it was like $100.
Interesting.
Yep.
On my end, all I had to pay was $10 to notarize it, since I'm in the state of PA. Because like when you sell a car in PA, you have to notarize it. I don't know how that is in Carolinas or other states. I feel like we're the only ones that do that. We're one of the few that do that.
You're supposed to do it. Technically, you don't have to, but by law, I think you do.
In Pennsylvania, by law, you
Yeah,
do. Other
yeah.
states, they say it's supposed to protect you because it's basically proving that you own the car.
Sure.
And then I spent like another 10, 15 bucks to send that title to KeySavvy, which was a little nerve-wracking, I guess, because I'm sending my title.
That's the only thing that sellers will have an issue with. But that's because they're acting as a dealer to reassign the title to the buyer, because if you didn't do that way, then the buyers or whoever might not be eligible for the tax credit.
Okay, so yeah, that's it on my end. I mailed it out. It was received, I think today, or yesterday they picked it up. As we saw in the apps or in the dashboard, the payment went through. Transfer ownership's done. We just went through this semi-tedious process.
This was actually a little bit more tedious than the whole transaction.
Which is crazy, but
Yeah.
you know, it works. It worked
out.
through. I would
Yeah.
recommend watching some videos on how to transfer a car if you're thinking about selling it. Yeah, that's it. Your account's hooked up. You now can use supercharging when on your your trip back. What would you rate this whole transaction? I mean,
I would say, so this is the end, right? So
that's it.
I would say 9, 10.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, honestly, the worst part was that whole Tesla thing with and the one worker that we ran
into.
I
wish I was a little bit closer to home, but the thing is,
fair.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Now you could try out some cheesesteaks while you're in Philly.
That's right.
Okay, well, hey, dude, thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming out here and enjoy the new car.
I appreciate it.
So just to recap, at this point of the story, I sent out my title. I released my car. The buyer has driven off with my car. So I am out of a title that proves my ownership of that car, and I am out of that car. I have nothing at this point. All I'm hoping now is to get this money that I was promised. I see it in my account. I see it in the dashboard. But yeah, I still don't have it. So as any normal person would react, I reach out to KeySavvy every day and just ask them, hey guys, what's the update? Because USPS says the title was delivered. And after a full business day, I still see no response. They reply back saying that there's an error in the system and it was never delivered. So I'm here kind of confused because USPS says it was successfully delivered and an individual picked it up. KeySavvy says individuals can't pick it up. It's supposed to be delivered to a PO box. I'm down $18,500 and a car. So I guess it's a little reasonable for me to be somewhat aggravated, but this goes on for 2 weeks. They say the options are to wait for USPS to clear this up because apparently this happens sometimes. Maybe the title will arrive a week later. Who knows? Maybe it got lost, whatever. Other option is to get a replacement title from the state, which would cost about $78. I asked for them to cover this fee because I think it's reasonable at this point. The title was lost on their end. They should be more than happy to cover this. Maybe I'm wrong for thinking that, but I thought it was reasonable. They kept trying to not take any blame or fault for this. They kept trying to push it towards USPS, that they're the ones at fault, that I need to reach out to them, file a claim for this lost item, that I'm insured. Great. Me hearing that is like, okay, so you're saying now I have to go to USPS, file a claim, wait for that to go through that whole investigation, wait for them to approve it, then pay for another title and wait for that to come and be sent out. You guys are killing me. We're at 2 weeks right now. I have no car. The guy doesn't even have a title, so he's kind of driving illegally. This is just a whole mess of a situation. So I'm just surprised at the way that KeySavvy handled this. I think eventually, after me nagging them on for a while, they just gave in the towel, said that they would cover the fee for a replacement title. They send out a electronic document to sign. Once I sign it, then it's done. 1 business day later to confirm, and they will release the funds. After seeing that, I was like, okay, I think we hit the finish line. So of course I signed the document. I'm waiting. The next day, I see in my banking account the $18,500 pending in my bank account. I think either that same day or the next day, it was successfully deposited and we finally got paid 2 weeks later. Sheesh, this was an experience. And here's the kicker. I get an email from them again saying that although I probably don't care, my title got delivered that day, 2 weeks later. So I'm thinking, wow. I was speechless. I was done. Okay, cool. Title eventually came through. I got my money. The buyer got a great deal for the car. Overall, yeah, KeySavvy is legit. How was my experience, you may ask? Well, listen. KeySavvy works. It's very easy, almost too easy. The platform is dummy proof. It's giving the buyer a great deal if you're selling an electric car. They get to utilize that $4,000 used EV tax credit. You get to list your car for free. You can put all the fees towards the buyer and hopefully you will get the price that you want. I think it's great. I think it's really cool that this platform exists, but there's a few things that I obviously did not like and that I would highly recommend you to think about when you're doing this. First of all, the reason they're able to keep their fees so low is because there's basically no one there to pick up a phone. There's no line you can call. All communication is done through email and chat, and the response times can be very slow. That's why it may feel a little scammy at first. You're not able to get anybody on the line when you want them. The buyer said he was able to actually talk to them on the phone, but I never was able to. I've only had communications through chat, email, and even Reddit, which is kind of crazy. Secondly, if you do this, I would probably recommend choosing FedEx or UPS to mail in your title. Yeah, it may be more expensive, but after seeing my experience shipping it through USPS, I probably would just spend the extra couple of bucks. I don't even know how much it costs. I didn't even price check it. I just assumed that FedEx and UPS would be more expensive. For all I know, they might be cheaper. Spend the extra bucks to ship it through them. You will avoid a massive headache, and this experience will go so much better for you. So overall, would I recommend KeySavvy? Yes, just mail your title through UPS or FedEx. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Peace. Oh, and also check out one of these videos here if you're interested in Teslas, because I just got a new Model Y and I will be making plenty of videos on it. All right, peace.